America, when most people start talking about rights and demanding rights, it sounds like a lot of nonsense to me. Then the smug lawyers start weighing in and I just want to leave the room. But I think I can settle this in a few minutes. A problem with popular rights talk is that people just start naming things like speech and healthcare, water and education, and it starts looking like a grab bag of mixed goods. And it's hard to see the conceptual unity that gives authority to these particular claims. On one hand, rights, like the right to one's body, seems to be a global claim that transcends cultural context. And on the other hand, what some consider rights in one political context are considered delicacies or even hindrances in another political context. I suspect that a major problem in rights discourse is that in talking about rights, we try to draw the concept by focusing on the object. Speech, healthcare, water, free press. Instead, we should focus on the particular kind of willing that generates rights. Rights claims are exercises in externalizing freedom. They involve a peculiar kind of willing. Every right, that is, every exercise of freedom, correlates to a duty for other people to accommodate this right. That is, a duty to act in recognition of the other person's right. Without this reciprocity and recognition, rights claims do not have their authority because actions are then heteronomously determined rather than autonomously determined. Let's take an example. Let's say you want to go renew your license at the DMV. The guy behind you is bigger, stronger, and better connected than you are. What's up, man? How you doing? I just want to, do my thing. Now, the guy behind you thinks, even though I'm bigger and I really want to be ahead of you and everyone watching is my friend and they're going to let me do what I want, I'm still going to respect your freedom and stand behind you. In contrast, let's watch Indiana Jones. So there's a difference between the boulder chasing Indiana Jones and the dude behind you in line. The boulder is a natural object that does not care about Jones's freedom. The boulder's action is determined by nature. And since the boulder does not care about freedom, Indiana Jones can't be free. For Jones to self-determine himself, that is, determine himself as a man who wants to stand his ground on this spot, he needs the boulder's recognition. Since the boulder is not the kind of thing that recognizes freedom, Jones's action is going to be determined by the boulder as opposed to being self-determined by Jones. Now, Jones has a choice. He could run away or be run over, but that choice does not arise from the mutual recognition that is a condition of self-determination. The contents of Jones's options are determined by the boulder, not by himself as a matter of freedom. He cannot demand by right to stand his ground, in contrast to the guy at the DMV. Now, you can have a right to your space in line, because we understand renewing your license as an exercise of freedom. However, the person behind you can wrong you. Let's say this dude doesn't see you, he cuts in front of you in line by mistake. I'm not paying attention, so I'm gonna cut in front of you. He has committed a wrong, a violation of your freedom. And by right, he has an obligation to make this situation whole, step back in line, once he realizes his violation of your right. However, some people violate rights on purpose. Man, I don't even care if you were first. I want what I want. Now, these people are a problem. Not only do they violate your freedom, they violate your moral rights. Moral rights follow from the acknowledgement that we hold each other accountable only for what we do on purpose, not merely what we do. To make this situation whole, the bad actor not only has to move behind you in line, this bad intention has to be acknowledged and might call for punishment. Maybe getting banned from the DMV or taking a paddle to the butt. Or the person has to say 10 Hail Marys in repentance. So you see how we start from property rights, including the rights to one's body, which are necessary for self-determination, and then build on that to moral rights, in which we agree to hold each other accountable only for what we do on purpose. Then and only then can we talk about legal rights. And legality gives us an avenue to publicly clarify the boundaries of freedom and what acts we can demand to be recognized as exercises in freedom. Now, some liberals say, I don't care what other people think of me. I'm just going to do what I want. There are generally two types of people who can afford not to care what others think of them. The ones who get everything they want by force, either directly or indirectly, and that's a position of privilege that has nothing to do with right or freedom. They are treated a certain way because the people they deal with are scared of the consequences. And two, those who have narrowed the scope of their public action to a minuscule domain, a sphere of action that makes it hard for them to organize any real structural change. Both sets of people are problems for justice. The first set is often oblivious to the power they're wielding, and the second set is just feckless. I hope it's starting to become clear why recognition is critically important for those of us who care about freedom. And that's why so much justice work begins with a battle for recognition. Lastly, the minimal conditions for rights are going to be the same all across the world. For example, while it's okay to sell part of your time in discrete increments, you can't sell yourself into slavery. Since rights claims are externalized expressions of freedom, you can't make a rights claim while your action is determined by some master. However, most kinds of rights claims are going to vary because the different kinds of ways people can be free varies from context to context and the institutional orders in which people hope to determine themselves. To recap, rights claims are external exercises in freedom. Every rights claim correlates with a duty for other people to recognize and act in a way that corresponds with the rights claim. You can have choice, but not freedom. The mugger who says, "Your money or your life," is giving you a choice, but this mugger is not respecting your right to walk down the street unmolested. This mugger is violating your right even while she is giving you a choice. Thank you for taking the time to watch this week's episode of The Funky Academic. Go ahead and like The Funky Academic on Facebook. If you have any questions, please shoot me an email and follow me on Twitter. Take care. Bye.